Always never ready.
Yep.
Never, ever, 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 ever.
That's my superpower.
Is that right?
No matter what, I'm never ready.
There we go. Retro gaming. Boom. It is the up.
No, it isn't. You're lying to me.
Now let's see if it's connected yet. Periscope had a big update. You guys know that?
Nope.
Yeah.
Anyone use Periscope?
Shadow Slayer. It's a podcast. It sure is. Just waiting for everything to connect. We already got a guy in here.
Shit, son.
Yeah. This guy's a major player.
Let's see.
MVP.
No, that's a wrestler, Tori. Don't be silly. Okay, yeah, it's up.
Okay, I'm leaving.
Uh-oh, why is it buffering? I don't like this.
JD, it's your connection shit.
Uh-oh.
JD, is your connection
boy.
shit. JD's connection is shit. Great.
Okay. Alright, it's fine. I think it's fine now.
It's fine.
Oh,
It's
no,
fine.
I'm gonna have to check one more thing then, because I didn't like what I was seeing there.
I don't know what you saw.
You saw nothing.
Okay, it looks okay. Alright. Whew. That was a scur. That was a scur. Oh, I'm gonna sneeze. I'm gonna sneeze.
Oh, God.
Oh god. Oh, it's coming.
Sneezing?
Oh, okay, I don't need to sneeze anymore. Oh, that was... Whew. Oh, that was a close one.
Don't freak out like that for nothing. Sneeze! Guys, I'm gonna sneeze!
Oh, didn't sneeze.
It's happening, everyone!
There's the alert. Jeez. God, that took a while. Okay. Counting down. You guys are all set and ready to go?
Yeah,
I'm ready.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go. Welcome one, welcome all. It is the Red Leaf Retrocast, Retro Gaming Edition. The OG cast is here to play.
Yeehaw!
You guys excited? I'm excited. Filled with excitement. All right. So, this is a special cast, just like all the others from there before. I'm joined here with Colin. And my buddy Tori from the Anime Cast. How you doing, Tori?
Woo! I'm doing all right. And Tori, the best host here.
Why? Oh, well, you are the best host already somewhere else. But why are you on the Retro Gaming Cast of all things?
That's a very, very good question.
Because you don't like video games.
Well, that's putting it harshly, but I don't play a whole lot of video games, especially not retro games. I don't know. You asked me. I said, sure, why not?
Well, the main reason is because of today's topic. Our theme is anime video games. Retro, of course, since it's the Retrocast. And before we get started, let's just go over the agenda here for our, not only just our live listeners, but also those listening at home or in their car, or wherever they listen to their cast. In a little bit here, we're going to talk about some of the games we've been playing and just kind of shoot the shit for about, I don't know, 10 minutes or whatever. Then we're going to go into some topical news with what's going on in the wide world of gaming. And then we'll get into our theme. So trying some things different here where we just like to go a little bit quicker. No more 4-hour podcasts. I say that even though the wrestling podcast just came out this past week and it went 2 minutes lower or less than the longest recorded Red Leaf Retrocast of all time, the Evangelion episode.
Weak.
So it was just short. I was almost convinced that upon finishing it. It was the longest ever. How mistaken I was. But that's neither here nor there. Tori, what have you been playing in your wonderful life?
Well, apart from some rhythm games and whatnot, I've been playing Slay the Spire, which is a kind of a roguelike / card game put together. So it's like roguelikes, like Binding of Isaac and stuff like that, where essentially what you do is you're kind of climbing up this. You're climbing floors, climbing up a whatever tower, spire, whatever. You're going up there, slaying monsters on your way, building the best deck you possibly can. Yeah, basically just trying to beat all the bosses and win.
I see.
That's it. Cool. It's a lot of fun. Still in early access and probably will be for quite a while, but it's constantly being updated, and yeah, Megacrit has done an incredible job with that game, even though it won't ever release.
Is it what kind of game? What game am I thinking of? Hearthstone? Is it anything like that, or?
Yeah, like I said, it's Hearthstone meets roguelike. Yeah, so it is a deck building game. You do build decks, different cards, different abilities, different attacks, different defensive cards, and basically the entire point of the game is just, can you build a strong enough deck to survive your way all the way up and face the different bosses. The catch there is that there are you have a few different options for playstyle, and then obviously you have a bit of RNG as to, do you actually get the cards you need, and when you need them at the right time, because you get new cards, or you can add new cards by defeating enemies, and obviously not all the time you don't get the cards you want for your type of deck.
Naturally.
So that obviously kind of dooms your run. And then to put it more fun, you can create a very strong deck only to come up against an enemy or a boss enemy that is literally the hard counter to your playstyle. And it's also going to put a test to how good you are at actually playing the game.
Yeah, kind of like an actual card game.
Yeah,
reminds me of the premise of Yu-Gi-Oh! If we're on the gaming anime type comparison there.
Yeah, for sure.
How long have you been playing this now? Because I'm noticing on Steam here it says release date November 14th, 2017.
Yeah, I started playing it in 2018. I started playing it probably less than a month ago, and I've put in over 35 hours into this game. So
oh, wow. So you're definitely addicted.
Oh, yeah. It's a lot of fun, just kind of trying to construct new decks, try new characters, just fun. Megacrit's even cooperating with the mod community. There's a big mod community for this game, so there's a lot there I could also get into if I want to. I haven't done that yet, but yeah.
You should definitely get into the mods, for sure.
Oh yeah, there's a whole set of new characters, new cards, everything.
Alrighty. Well, Colin, what have you been playing?
Pretty much all of my spare gaming time has been spent playing Dead Cells.
Oh, well, okay. Just kind of introduce the game, because I've also been playing that, and we're gonna save definitely the more hardcore opinions for the Modern Gaming podcast. But what's Dead Cells about?
This Metroidvania style roguelike type game. You're basically this big it's just like this organism who takes over the body of a dead warrior by putting itself in where his head used to be, and then you go through all these different stages, zombies and monsters and all sorts of different things, collecting different weapons along the way, as well as blueprints that you can use to spend dead cells on to create new weapons or upgrade your current stats. It's essentially like meets Rogue Legacy, and it is a lot of fun, very addicting.
It is very addicting. Just as a loose comparison, no, I don't want to say comparison. As a loose description of the difficulty, because what I find in a lot of roguelike games is the journey to the end, because that's what ultimately what the goal of a roguelike game is. Because it doesn't feel like you're ever progressing, because when you die, you go back to the beginning and you start completely over. So it's the journey of you getting better, and that progression system gets you to the end. There was a game I just played on the Modern Cast for the most recent episode that came out at the beginning of August. And I can't remember the name, but it had like an economic aspect to it. The difference between what's making Dead Cells so fun to that game is the progression system in Dead Cells always makes it feel like you are actually progressing, and it's not. There's no system that feels broken. Everything feels fair. I've only reached the halfway point technically in the game, because I was just curious to see how many levels there were and whatnot. I'm still not past the midway point, which is the first like major boss battle.
Yeah,
big dude with sword that throws fire and everything. Once you get him halfway through health, he just kind of wrecks my shit every time. I just seem to be underpowered getting to that point all the time, which kind of sucks. But yeah, I really like Dead Cells 2. I can't wait to talk about it for the Modern Gaming Cast, which we should be recording here in the next week or so.
And yes, it was entirely due to the IGN plagiarism controversy that I even know about this game to begin with, but I don't care. This is about the game itself, and it's great.
Fun times.
That was a thing that happened in the news, but whatever. Who goes to IGN anymore anyways to look at reviews? I just look at the number.
Incidentally, the title itself, Dead Cells, is just one of those titles I find fun just to say out loud. Like Dead Space or Flip Flappers or Battle Mage, and to an extent Wolfenstein.
Wolfenstein. Yeah. I also like how every level feels unique and different. It's not just, here's your lava stage, here's your forest stage, here's your desert stage. Yeah, they got a toxic sewer stage, a fallen warrior stage. It just goes on like that. I can't think of another modern game that's unique in so many ways like that, and then just kind of playing off other games of the genre. But anyways, before we talk more about Dead Cells, we got to save something for the other cast. I've been playing Fire Pro Wrestling for also the Modern Gaming Cast, but I've been hyped for that game for probably a year since they announced it was coming to console. If a game's coming to console, I'm getting that over Steam every day, all day. It's just, I don't know whether it's the community involved that I like more, or I just like the fact that it's on console. Who knows? Games, the most addicting wrestling game I've played since Here Comes the Pain in the early 2000s. But you guys aren't wrestling fans, so I won't keep you bored. But if you are a wrestling fan, I can't recommend the game enough. Definitely get it over WWE 2K19 that's coming out. I can already tell you it's Fire Pro Wrestling. It's a better game. I did beat, however, Octopath Traveler finally. I finally completed it. It took me 72 and a half hours.
Weak.
To beat that game. Beat that
How
RPG.
is it overall?
Oh, see, man, I feel like I've been talking about this game all summer, at least since July when it came out. So it's only been a couple months, but I seem to talk about it in every cast since its release. So that's a good sign, at least. Story-wise, it's very weak. There's 4 chapters for each of the 8 characters, and at the end of the 4th chapter for only a couple characters, those two have a common kind of thread that came together. So that was just a nice little one-liner that they threw out there. to thread the stories, and then there was another 2 characters that had their own thread that had the story come for them. Everyone else seemed to have their own little journey. It didn't make sense to why this party was together in the first place, or why they stayed together, especially once you... this was weird, because once you complete a chapter, then it's like, oh, you're done, and they wrap a story, they wrap their version of their story up, and really they have no reason to ever leave, like, their town where they started, but yet you still have them in your party. There's still banter between characters. I almost wish that there was a mechanic in the game at the end where, just like how you start, you slowly get your party together. When you get to those last chapters, or your party slowly goes away. I thought that would have been a cool mechanic that they could have put in. I think it would have added some difficulty to the end game. And then when it's all said and done, you can, like, get your party back together again, kind of like a post-game content. But they didn't do that. So I found myself really overpowered for, like, the last 6 of the 8 chapters just from playing the game. There was minimal grinding at all once I completed, I want to say, the last couple of chapter 3. So I still had a good fourth of the game left, and I was just blasting my way through it with no real difficulty at all. I did start with Therian the Thief, so I was just stealing weapons through everyone in town, so I never found myself really having to grind for money or grind for grind through different, like, level caves to get these stronger weapons. I just had them already because I was just stealing it the whole time. Every time I came across a purple chest, I already had Therian in my party, so I just opened the chest. It definitely was an RPG light. It's a good RPG for people that like the genre and don't like how a lot of these JRPGs have an incredible amount of difficulty and grind to them. So I think that's what I liked about it the most, was it definitely gave me a good casual play. So
cool.
Story-wise, it's one of the most weak I've played in a long time, though, unfortunately.
Too bad.
Yeah. Tori, are you familiar with Octopath Traveler, or the talk of the town, so to say?
I've heard about it, but I have no interest in it.
Yeah. JRPGs don't sound like your thing, are they?
I mean, I do play Persona and whatnot, so... But,
that's right, you did play Persona. You played the shit out of that game.
Yep. But that's for, like... It's not something I focus on. Like, I never grew up with JRPGs of any kind. Like, we usually nenever got them anyway, so... It's kind of like where I hear everybody's like, oh, Final Fantasy. I'm like, what? Was that?
What that?
Never heard of.
Never heard of.
Nah, it's there now, but wasn't really something anybody talked about when I was a kid.
Right. Well, alrighty then. Well, then why don't we move on to the topics of the day as I play the Pokemon Battle music. Okay, so some good topics came out. Good news. And I think Colin, you might be interested in this, especially since we just covered Streets of Rage on a past podcast episode fairly recently, the Beat 'em Ups episode in particular. Streets of Rage 4 was announced, and it's by the same devs that remade Wonder Boy, the Dragon's Trap remake. So the game, I have some hope for this game.
Oh yeah.
Before, Colin, I asked you directly, Tori, have you played Streets of Rage before?
Nope. I have not.
I have a feeling I'm going to ask you all these questions, and you're just like, nope. So, Tori, bear with me, but Colin, are you excited for Streets of Rage 4? Because every YouTuber, retro gamer, whatever, is just obviously overreacting to it. I'm on the side of caution, personally, but I do have hope. What about yourself, Colin?
Like you said, I'm cautiously optimistic about it. I don't know if I'll buy it upon release, but it looks like it's staying pretty faithful to the original.
Have you seen screenshots of it?
A couple.
Okay.
What the characters' names are, but it looks to be pretty.
Yeah,
kind of a modern look.
It's got this, it's got this keeping it retro, cell shaded type look to it. It's got a lot of neon type colors. It really reminds me of Double Dragon Neon, how they remade that game. I personally, I wasn't a fan with it. It was just okay. Streets of Rage 4, because if you're not familiar with the Wonder Boy Dragon's Trap remake, it was an incredibly faithful, like when did it come out? 2016 or 17? One of those two. 2 years. Remake of, a reimagining, I guess, of the original Wonder Boy game. So I have the utmost confidence in the developers, but if history tells us anything, with all these 4s that have come out, you could even say Final Fight 4, Sonic the Hedgehog 4, that definitely comes to mind. The 4s tend to not do so well, and the community involved, as hyped as they get to it when the game actually comes out. Take Double Dragon Neon, that's a great example. It gets okay reviews, but the community doesn't quite buy into it. Tori, think of like an anime remaster. Comes to mind, The Legend of Galactic Heroes. Everyone was super excited for it. It definitely delivers, but still no one's really watching it.
Well, yeah, but I mean, that's kind of the thing, right? You try to when you're marketing stuff like this, it's not something that the new guard is going to be interested in most of the time, just simply because like there's much for them. It's like I hear you talk about, like you're excited and like talked about being faithful and whatnot, and obviously for somebody who maybe have played these games before and like them, obviously that would be very important.
Right.
Somebody who, you know, much younger, never played these games, only got into games recently, that's a tougher sell, right? Because they wouldn't care.
Yeah, exactly. And the genre itself, beat 'em ups, as super fun as they are, and Colin, you and I played the beat 'em ups episode, and sometimes the genre just doesn't translate well to the modern era. And I think beat 'em ups is definitely one of those. You just don't get a lot of beat 'em up games today, if at all. So
I can't remember the last one I've seen.
I mean, Double Dragon Neon's the last one I can think of off the top of my head that was even remotely okay. And I believe that was a Steam only release, if I'm not mistaken. It might have came out, you know, physically through other means, via consoles and whatever. But regardless, Streets of Rage 4, I really like the art style. I really do hope it's good, because I'm a big Streets of Rage fan. It's probably my favorite beat 'em up franchise, to be honest. So I love Streets of Rage 2. I love that game. So
cool.
The next one is actually something I came across recently. Shovel Knight Final 2 DLC are coming, and it's coming next spring 2019. King of Cards and Showdown. King of Cards is a full story about King Knight, so very much in the same realm of the DLC that came out in the past with Spectre Knight and Plague Knight. So it should be good. Should be a good different take on the Shovel Knight franchise. And then Showdown is actually a fighting game with a story as well, with all of the characters in the game. So. And they will be released for free with the full purchase of any past game, including the Vita and Wii U versions, if the article I read was accurate. And I do believe it, because the past two DLCs, Plague Knight and Spectre Knight, were also free, and I have the Wii U version physical. and I was just able to go, assuming that Nintendo doesn't totally shut down the update service. It'll be free as well. Thoughts, guys? Tori, how familiar are you with Shovel Knight? Best game or greatest game?
I've never played it myself.
Of course.
I've heard a lot about it. It's like I said, obviously I'm not exactly very into games. I don't play most games. But it is one of those things was like from like being in the gaming community as I used to be, and I follow a lot of people that still are. So it's something like I hear about it very often, but it's mostly just kind of like, oh yeah, I'm streaming Shovel Knight, and I'm like, okay, cool.
Colin, how about yourself? You excited for Shovel Knight, the final 2 DLC? And I gotta say, Yacht Club Games, the makers of this, like kudos to them. Like, oh my god, they made a fantastic game. They keep coming out with DLC for it, and it's totally free. It's just more content. It's really keeping Shovel Knight in the modern eye. So, but I'm sorry, Colin. To answer my question, what were you gonna say?
I only just recently beat Shovel Knight, so I haven't played any of the DLC yet. But it looks to be pretty cool. This is my first time hearing about the new Final 2 DLC, but it'd be interesting to see how they do the fighting game side of things.
Yeah, that has me peaked. I mean, because all the characters feel like characters in such a retro style game, even though you only meet them the one time pretty much, but they have so much personality, be it their fighting and their environments that they're a part of. I'm a big Shovel Knight fan. I've played it all. Yeah. I even went as far as to get the Shovel Knight amiibo, mostly because I have the Wii U version, and the amiibo allows you to have 2-player co-op for that, and you get a nice little figure too. So I'm excited. I hope everyone else is excited. If you haven't hopped on the Shovel Knight bandwagon yet, and you're a fan of retro gaming, like we all here at the podcast, Shovel Knight's a must play.
Absolutely.
Yeah. If you like Mega Man, it's in the realm of a Mega Man type game. You might say it's the best Mega Man game that's come out in the last 20 years. And then our final piece of news here is the original Onimusha game is coming to PC, PS4, Switch, and Xbox One. Down the line, the PS2 Classic will get updated visuals, analog controls, and a new soundtrack.
Oh,
yeah. This is so in the pre-show or before I hit the live button, I mentioned that there's a lot of samurai games coming out in 2019, and Onimusha is one of those. Along with Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice, Neo 2. And what am I thinking? What am I missing here? There's one more.
Of Tsushima?
Ghost of Tsushima, thank you. But yeah, Onimusha's coming back. I guess Capcom, instead of making new games, they only know how to bring back their old titles with minimal effort.
What's a new game?
Yeah, what is a new game, right? And I make that joke because visually, from what I've seen, let's see if I can pull up a couple images here, or at least some news. Onimusha remaster. Okay, yeah, that's more or less what it. Yeah, there you go. 6 days ago, 5 days ago. Yeah, those are recent. Visually, it doesn't look too different than an upscaled PS2 version. So what I mean by that is if you throw like your PS2 game in a one of those older PS3 models and you put in the upscale option, know what I mean? It looks like that. But the analog controls, is a very much needed thing, especially with older PlayStation games. Let's see, what are some other, like not Crash. Spyro comes to mind with using L2R2. The first Kingdom Hearts didn't have analog controls. The list goes on. Just having that second stick to control just for camera control. As my cat's now hitting the mic. Come here, kitty. You've been super bad the last couple podcast episodes, and ripping up my carpet in the morning. I didn't like that too much. What was I saying? Oh yeah, camera controls. That second analog stick is just a quality of life improvement that needs to be in all games. I think they should remaster every PlayStation game with analog controls. And I might buy half of them too. How familiar are you guys with Onimusha? Just anyone speak up.
I know of its existence. I saw plenty of commercials for it back in the day, but I never actually played it.
That seems to be a theme with a lot of people, actually. Yeah. I personally love the Onimusha series. It was definitely up there with the Tenchu franchise. And anime fans, Tori, I don't know if you have played any samurai games yourself.
No.
Okay. Well, if you're an anime fan, a retro gaming fan, then if you like swordplay and killing like demons and dudes with giant axes and other weapons, Onimusha is pretty damn sweet. We did cover Tenchu not too long ago. That's more along the stealth line of samurai games. Onimusha is much more action based. I couldn't tell you any of the stories off the top of my head. It's been like 20 years.
Oh yeah,
only 20. Yeah,
only 20. I have the first and third one. I probably won't get this remaster myself, but the fact that it is coming out again, I definitely implore people to at least check it out. Now, if it does come out and it's like the Shenmue re-release that occurred, have you guys heard of this?
Yes.
Very much so. The Shenmue re-release is a disaster. Like it's literally a port. That's all it is. I think Capcom has they're not going to pull a Sega here and just put no effort at all and put it on modern consoles. But to be fair, on Sega's part with the Shenmue port release, it is just to get hype along Shenmue 3 coming out, and not too many people, I imagine, have the original Xbox and Dreamcast anymore. So,
what do you mean?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, everyone's like me, right, and has all the things.
I have the original Xbox.
Do you, Tori?
I do.
Ooh, what's your favorite game for it?
Oh,
well, putting you on the spot. Yeah, it's happening.
Let's see. I need to remember what did I even play on the Xbox? I remember playing.
There's Halo
2. Yeah, I played Halo 2 on the Xbox. I remember playing
Blinks the Time Sweeper, which we've covered on a past episode.
I played Blinks 2 though. I actually unironically love that game. Those are the only ones that come to mind. So the rest are probably very bad. They're probably also very bad. But hey, actually, Halo is
Ooh, there's a controversial statement. I think Halo was on our very first episode of the Retro Gaming Cast. I had actually never played the Halo story before.
I have neither. Because the fun thing about my copy of Halo 2 was that it was broken, so you could only play the first mission.
Multiplayer only, forever.
Yep.
Aw, you poor guy.
And I still played that one mission 100 times at least.
But yeah, back to Onimusha. It's a super fun samurai action game. Definitely look up some gameplay of the past. I hope, again, that it's not just a port, because then the port won't get people into the franchise. Ports won't do that. It's 2018.
What do you mean?
Ports of the past just don't... Look, if you're on a modern console, I guarantee that you don't want to play a game in 480p running at 30 frames per second with terrible voice acting.
Are you trying to tell me that people will not play older games that are just re-released with nothing? Are you trying to tell me that people have, I'm not even going to call it standards, but are you telling me that people actually want to see something that resembles modern games in terms of visuals or gameplay?
Mm-hmm. I am saying such a controversial statement.
Wow.
And Colin and I love retro games, but Colin, what do you think if this was just a port, people would play it? I think some people would, but not the audience, not the general gaming community. I don't think so, personally.
It would pretty much just be the people who never got a chance to buy it back in the day or play it back in the day, and now have the chance to. Aside from that, there's no real draw for new players that never even heard of it.
Right.
Come on, there's somebody who will have lost a bet somewhere.
But they're 1 in a million.
No, you mean 1 million out of 1 billion.
Tomato, tomato.
Tomato, tomato. All right. Well, I don't have much else to say. That's all the news we got. It's a good time for us to move right along and play, get into our theme as I play the only one we're supposed to do here. Chrono Cross.
Yay!
Alrighty.
I'd like to explain why I love the Chrono Cross drop so much.
Sure. Okay. Alright, well, Tori, since you are the guest of the hour, the man of the hour, the limitless one yourself, the best host already, you've only been here a hot minute on the Retro Gaming Cast. If you want to hear more of Tori's best hosting skills, go check out the Red Leaf Retrocast Anime Edition, Worldwide Weebs. We're past 30 episodes now. We did make it that far. Congratulations, Tori, best host.
Thank you. I don't know how I did it.
You can find it here on the past live streams via YouTube, Red Leaf Retrocast, iTunes, Stitcher, Smart Radio, Spotify, and many more. And if you've liked what you've heard so far, go leave us a review on Stitcher or iTunes. It's a good free way to support the podcast, and who knows, might even read your comments and thoughts on an episode, good or bad. So, Tori, bring us into our very first game we are discussing here.
Putting me on the spot again.
Yes, all right. I am. It is what I do.
So the first game we're going to be talking about is Dragon Ball Shenlong no Naso for the Famicom. Or Dragon Power. Really? That's what they give away? Okay. Sure.
And that's going to be a theme, is changed names.
Yeah, well, nobody needs to know that there's... What's anime? Japanese? What? No.
What was anime in the 80s?
What was anime in the 80s? Akira was. Anyways, the game was released on November 27th, 1986 in Japan, and March 1988 in North America on the Famicom NES. Developed by TOS and released by Bandai.
Yep.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts over this game? What's it about, first of all?
Well, first things first, I really didn't get that far into it.
Oh, that is okay, because if it's a bad game, I don't expect you to beat it.
Oh, no. When I say I didn't get far into it, I mean, like, I gave up very, very, very quickly.
Why did you give up, Tori? There must be a reason behind it.
The reason behind it is because I kind of get in. See, what do I see? Well, I essentially just see, like, kind of, very, very old game, very, very pre my time, very basic looking.
And how old are you, Tori?
Kind of walking. I am 23. I was born in 1995.
So this game is older than you, is what you're saying.
Yes, by almost 10 years.
No kids these days.
Yep.
I gotta ask, which version did you play? Did you play the Famicom version or the game Dragon Power?
Well, I mean, first things first. I didn't get to play any of these games apart from one, so I mostly just got to
Yes, you did. You played them all. via emulator. You can say it.
Absolutely.
You can say that. I don't expect everyone to go out and buy a Famicom and import everything from Japan.
well, you will still be wrong, but whatever.
Yeah.
Anyways, so yeah, no, I just kind of don't care for that, like, 2D overhead. You're walking around kind of punching enemies that are walking in their set pattern, swiping at you, stuff. It's like, I sit there and I'm like, I'm having such a good time right now. And then, you got those cutscenes, the dialogue sequence, just kind of like, all right, whatever. And yeah, no, the version I played was the Famicom version. So
you played Dragon Ball Shenlong no Nazo?
Yes.
Okay. All right, just to be clear, because Dragon Power's dialogue, I tried to play I tried to play both versions of these games to get a compare and contrast. The dialogue in Dragon Power is classic English. And obviously they didn't care, because it was with let's see here, in my notes I have give me your sandwich, hello, I am Hermit, things like that, and that's all they would say, and it would move on.
Nice.
Like fragmented sentences, things out of context that you just don't understand. Why does he want your sandwich? I don't know. If you've played Dragon Ball Shenlong no Nazo, and you're familiar with the Dragon Ball anime, he actually says, "Give me your panties," and it's Master Roshi. So you know he's an old pervert turtle hermit. So when he says, "Give me your panties" in Dragon Ball, the game, you're just like, yeah, okay, I understand it. But in English, it's just this generic martial arts dude that just wants a sandwich, and you're like, well, okay, who cares? But yeah, Tori, I know what you mean. The 2D overhead kind of Zelda outlook isn't for everybody. That's for sure. I'll be the first.
Don't be talking bad about Zelda, okay?
No, but I'll be the first to admit, like, when I was a kid, the overhead top-down games weren't my thing. I didn't get into those kind of games until way later. Like later end Super Nintendo type games. Even Chrono Cross comes to mind. That's pretty top down. Phantasy Star, etc. But yeah, like this game, you just kind of go around, punch enemies until you get your big extendo pole, and then you can punch them at a distance, essentially.
Woo.
Yeah. We'll get into more of the game in here. Second, Colin, I want to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, I ended up playing the Famicom version, the very rough English translation.
Okay.
Like you said, top-down game, occasionally alternates to 2D action for boss fights. And it's pretty basic. Nothing really going on here that you wouldn't see in like the original Zelda or Star Tropics, which we covered in a previous game.
Right.
Or cast. And without the pull, hitting enemies can be a real chore in this game. You have to be very exact with how you aim your attacks. Don't even get me started on that first mini boss. There's literally no way to beat him without getting hit yourself.
Yeah, it's pretty dumb. There is a way to get the Kamehameha wave, and that definitely helps. And naturally, they put in a mechanic where you only have a limited amount of fire or power, which makes sense in the Dragon Ball universe. I don't remember off the top of my head in the American version Dragon Power if you even get the Kamehameha wave. I think they may have taken that out. But yeah, basically what happened was the US version was based on Journey to the West with no mention of Dragon Ball at all. So naturally, Journey to the West, I believe, is a Chinese movie with Western actors. So nothing will sell a video game to small kids than a Chinese Western game movie,
of course,
right? But Goku was changed to closely resemble an Americanized kung fu stereotype thing. Well, the game itself was. Goku himself was changed to this monkey-looking dude. They got rid of the hair in Dragon Power, so he didn't even like resemble a person anymore. Even the picture on the box was changed to just a generic kung fu fighter with a white gi and blue headband. Master Roshi was changed to look more like the traditional martial arts master, which I mentioned before. And then basically all the character names and item names changed. The Dragon Balls were now changed to Crystal Balls. Bulma was changed to like Nina or some shit. I don't remember. It wasn't worth writing down. It just goes on and on like that. Like you said, Colin, it just goes around punch stuff. Way too incredibly exact. When you do get the extendo pole, it's incredibly broken. I found myself just circling on the D-pad whenever I'd get into a room or area because you just flail it around like a madman. It just spins really fast. The music, I will say, goes on a loop in a really short sequence of a single song. So I muted that shit so fast, guys.
Yeah, it was really repetitive.
Like, it was bad. The most notable difference, I will say, in the game is the speed boost power-up to make you run faster along the map. In the American version, it was sandwiches. So that's the sandwiches were kind of the main point of the game. In the original Dragon Ball version, the speed boost power-up were panties. Pink panties.
Yeah. Yep. Which is a little odd considering Goku isn't that kind of character.
He is not that kind of character, but the whole idea was you're supposed to get these panties and give them to Master Roshi. And get them to him quick. But of course, out of context dialogue, it just doesn't match up. You really need to know the Dragon Ball franchise, I guess, to get that reference, but even through the gameplay, it didn't really make much sense. They did make the animation of Goku running fast with his legs like in the anime, where it's just this real fast kind of swish looking motion. Tori, you know what I'm talking about? The legs go back and forth real quick, and they just kind of hover along the ground.
Yeah.
Running on water in One Piece.
Yeah, something like that.
I give this game credit for it looks and sounds like Dragon Ball, at least in the Famicom version. Like the menu music is basically the Japanese Dragon Ball theme, which you hear all the time if you pay attention to Team 4-Star on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Let me pull up some screenshots here for the live stream. I should have done that earlier. There it is. Looks like ass, though.
I should probably point out I wasn't really much into Dragon Ball growing up.
Blasphemy.
It had a lot to do with the fact that my family didn't have cable TV. I remember seeing one episode of the original Dragon Ball dub at a friend's house when I was sleeping over one time.
Mm-hmm.
But hell, if I can remember what it was about, I just remember the scene of Goku, Bulma, and some other character riding with Oolong driving. And that's pretty much it.
Oh, yeah.
I'll do you one better.
Oolong's name was changed to Porky in the American version.
Oh, no, but I'll do you one better. I've never seen Dragon Ball, and I never intend to.
Aw.
Oh.
You guys pain me. No, I mean, for an NES title, I guess it was... Visually, it looked okay. I just think it played like ass.
Yeah.
It needed some tender loving care for sure. It does not get a pass from me.
Same here. Just play Star Tropics.
Yeah, at least like Star Tropics doesn't look as good, but it plays so much better. So
absolutely.
Tori, does this get a pass from you? Something tells me it does.
Obviously, it does not. No, not at all. This is just like this is just fucking not my cup of tea at all.
No, I mean, this would be my cup of tea if it was a good game.
Okay.
If you're a hardcore Dragon Ball fanboy, I still can't recommend the game. If you're a hardcore collector, the game is only $5. Famicom or NES version, whichever you prefer. The game's cheap as shit. So, Colin, why don't you tell us about the next game that we're going to be covering here?
The Japanese title is Shin Sekimatsu Kyuseishu Densetsu Hokuto no Ken, aka Last Battle for the American title.
Yes, because that translated exactly the same.
Yeah. You know.
I posit two theories about the English title. One, they were trying to piggyback off the success of Final Fight, so they created a title with synonyms of both words: final, last, fight, battle.
Ooh, that's a good theory.
And one of the localizers was a fan of C.S. Lewis. You know, The Last Battle, the final book of the Chronicles of Narnia.
See, my theory was it was called Last Battle because once you play it once, you're never going to play it again. It would be your last battle.
That's a good theory.
Yeah, if that's any indication of how I feel about the game. Well, when did it come out? Who developed this this piece of steaming pile of ass? Who did it? Who did this to me, Colin?
Well, Sega did this to you.
Oh, and I like Sega. God, bastards.
Yeah, it came out in Japan on July 1st, 1989. On Canada Day, it seems.
Sure did. Happy Canada Day.
And it came out in North America on August 14th of the same year. Wow. This is basically the Fist of the North Star game for those who aren't familiar with the translation of Japanese title to American.
Sure. And Colin, just to interrupt you here, Tori, I'm going to leave this to you. Could you describe what Fist of the North Star anime is for our listeners?
Fist of the North Star anime. Well, basically, it follows Kenshiro, a very, very, very badass man who has basically got a special kind of martial arts. He's also got 7 scars on the chest, but that's been unimportant. Only for description, not really important. Although it is, but I'm not going to spoil it. Anyways, so what he does is, in this post-apocalyptic world in 1990X, as they love to say, the nuclear war struck and everyone's dead. No, not really. But the entire world has been thrown into chaos. We're in post-apocalyptic, and obviously as what happens is biker gang takes over everything, and very badass biker gang. So, yeah, Kenshiro, he is kind of just walking around in the desert, keeps getting attacked, and he punches people, and everyone laughs at him because, like, ha, that didn't even hurt. But what they don't know is they're already dead. And then they explode. And rinse and repeat forever.
And what's that famous line that he always says?
Omae wa mou shindeiru.
There we go.
Nani?
I quite enjoy the anime myself. Oh, you got it, Colin. You got it. I quite enjoy the anime myself. It's dumb 80s fun. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's silly. It started wearing on me after a while, but it's
Japanese Mad Max, basically.
Yeah. All right, Colin. Well, back to the game. What is this steaming pile of ass about? What do you do in this game?
Basically the same as the anime. Your character, Kenshiro, or in the English version, Arzak.
It's Arzak. It's a double A. I won't stand for this mispronunciation of names.
Yeah, there's not really a story. You're just going from stage to stage, punching and kicking guys who come your way. It's basically like the Sega version of the NES game Kung Fu.
Yeah, I can see that.
Exactly the same. Previously considered for the Damsels in Distress cast, but I chose Final Fight instead.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever enemies you hit, they either die in one hit or go flying and bouncing. It's just,
so what version did everyone play? Because I played Last Battle like a couple weeks ago, and then since we're a week behind with this episode, I got to play the Japanese version yesterday. I was sick, for those that are curious to why this is late. So I got to play both, luckily enough. Tori, which versions did you get to?
I got to I did. I looked at both, but I looked at the Japanese version.
Okay, so then you looked up a video to compare.
Yeah.
And man, they're very similar, more so in the sense compared to the Dragon Ball game we just covered. But they're night and day different because of just certain things that were taken out of the Western versions. And that is the fact that the Japanese version has blood, gore, heads exploding, and bodies exploding, while the Western version has just the enemies flying off the screen. Like, whee!
Ah, man, now I want to play that version.
I'd say there's a lot different, but yeah.
No, the Japanese version was pretty cool, because when you punch the guy, they kind of, or punch and kick the guy, they go diagonal in the air, and then they stop all of a sudden, and either their head or body will completely explode, and a bunch of blood. If you're watching live right now, you can see a screenshot where the head's exploding right off. And because of this change, and them having to take a lot of that out, they had to, due to the censorship in the West, the English version, Western version, was graphically, I don't want to say dumbed down, but it looks so much worse. Like, all the texture is gone in the environments. The bricks are the most notable on buildings. They're completely out of the last battle version. It just doesn't look as good at all. The sprites don't feel as detailed when you're playing. So a lot of the quality of life enhancements that the Japanese version had were totally taken out of Last Battle. It just looks like a better game, and it feels like a better game because you're getting to kick heads off people's heads or bodies. Then when you get to boss battles, which I didn't know this was a thing until I played the Japanese version. You're fighting in if you're familiar with Fist of the North Star, Kenshiro tends to fight a lot of these just massive, like, 20-foot dudes. You know, whenever, I don't know, his companion is kidnapped or what have you.
Whenever anything happens.
Right, whenever anything happens, it's always a dude like 3 times the size, and he just makes their bodies explode. In the Western version, they were completely changed to, like, these alien mutants altogether.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, to match, I guess, the idea. I don't know why, when you're already, like, kicking dudes off the screen. I think my theory is, I only got to the first boss of the Japanese version, was there is a special death animation for the bosses. So instead of censoring, like, a boss battle and just watching them getting flying off the screen altogether, they kept more or less the animation, but made it a mutant to see them exploding. Because I guess watching a human explode is bad, but watching an alien explode is okay.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's that. What the game is you go left to right. You have a life gauge, Erzak, or Kenshiro has a power-up meter that will gradually fill as you defeat enemies. You have a punch, kick, crouch, the basic buttons. The mechanic I thought was really cool was when you get to a certain point and your meter fills, depending on the stage as well, you go into this super-powered state, and they kept this in both versions, is he flexes and goes, and his shirt explodes, and then he can punch and kick at rapid speed. So that definitely kept the spirit of the anime right there. You were saying, Colin?
Can you say manly?
Oh yeah, definitely manly. Tori, what did you like about this game?
Oh, I like the bodies exploding. No, I don't. Again, it's just not my it's not my kind of game. I don't like that, like walking, kicking enemies. It's like cool.
Well,
or
to be fair,
enemies.
this was very mediocre at best.
Yeah.
Basic.
I mean, if I were to compare it to Dragon Ball, I said I prefer this one, but you know.
Sure. No, I'm definitely with you on there. There was more to this one than Dragon Ball. The Japanese version, anyways. Colin, what did you like about this game? As I watch my cat try to bite and destroy more cords. Bad kitty.
Yeah, like you said, JD, it's pretty mediocre, but I kind of gameplay for what it was. I mean, like I said, it was just like the game Kung Fu, which I actually played fairly frequently as a kid on the Commodore 64.
Sure.
Kind of a trip back for me. And I didn't think the graphics were too bad. I mean, nothing mind-blowing, but you can't really expect too much from 1989. But I would like to see how the Japanese version looks compared to the American version.
Oh, the Japanese version's night and day better visually. Even though 1989 is the beginning of the Genesis era, and when the console came out, it's still something.
Yeah.
The game's divided into 4 stages or chapters, each featuring several levels in it. I really liked, and I wish more games would do this, especially back then, was when you finish a level, there were different paths you could take and go to the next one. Now, each level felt the same because you're walking left to right, and all that really changed was the background and what they put there. So that's a complaint in itself. But I do like that alternating path choice with different environments coming and what have you. That was really cool. I like that. Where they dropped the ball, even on that, was this sort of maze board, and you still had to find the correct path to get to the next area correctly. Think of Dead Cells, Colin.
Yeah.
You know?
Nah, but Dead Cells did it better. It was basically you're choosing your own path. Some are harder than others, but it's still
right. But you still get to the end point in the same way, no matter what path you chose. In this one, you have to then go back to get to the right path. That was where they dropped the ball. So, this game wanted to be Alter Beast so bad. As I was playing both versions of it. And Alter Beast also came out in 1989, so I think they were kind of trying to hit lightning in a bottle twice there. And I swear this used the same music as Golden Axe. Did you get that feeling, Colin?
Probably. It's been a few days since I played it, but
yeah, as soon as I was playing, I'm like, that sounds like Golden Axe. Especially since we've played both or 1 and 2 Golden Axe on the podcast. It's like, oh yeah. The writing in it was just as cheesy as the Fist of the North Star anime in both the English and Japanese version. So it kept the spirit there. So there was a lot of spirit in the game. I think they were trying for. It just wasn't executed well at all. I did like the sprite detail, very much so. And then one last note here on Last Battle particularly. In a few gaming articles I found from the 90s, it has it listed as 2 of the 10 worst Genesis games of all time.
That's an accomplishment. Could hang it on the wall.
So poor Sega. Poor Sega indeed. Final thoughts over Hokuto no Ken, aka Last Battle. Tori?
I it was a fun experience ish. Like a couple minutes. And then it was kind of like, yeah, I'm done with this. This isn't the sort of interactive games that I grew up with.
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Colin?
One of Kevin's key phrases, it's a thing that exists.
It's a thing that exists. He does say that. All right. Fail from us all again. Not good for anime games. Retro anime games. 0 for 2. Hopefully that's about to change in this third one here. I will introduce this one now. This is...
Oh, you will?
I will. This is Hepburn Area Hachi Juhachi on the Super Famicom, aka UN Squadron. Oh, yes. And right fast, the Fist of the North Star game was $6. If you're curious and you're a hardcore collector. UN Squadron, because nothing will sell more to gamers like the United Nations. Came out in Japan, July 26, 1991. In North America, September 1991. So a good turnaround date. Developed and published by our good friends at Capcom. You know, those guys that are reporting, making, mastering Onimusha. It is your typical side-scrolling shooter going against the trend of other Capcom shooters at the time, such as 1942 and 1943, where it was a top-scrolling shooter. Player has an energy bar that is consumed over the course of a single life as the player sustains damage, as opposed to the usual one-hit death system. Very interesting mechanic indeed. And for those that don't know, this is based off the anime Area 88 OVA of the 90s and manga by the same name. An anime I am quite fond of. And Tori, you have seen the anime.
I sure have seen the anime, yeah.
What is the anime about? So we get a little background over the game as well.
Well, I don't remember names right now, but I remember it's about this guy who basically gets drunk at a bar and then he gets signed up for this special military service. And he basically ends up piloting warplanes, and they end up lots of dogfighting, and, you know, just they're hired for fighting for other nations, because why not?
Yeah, it's like this militaristic mercenary country, and you're forced into essentially slavery, and you have to buy your way. You have to buy your freedom essentially by completing these mercenary jobs.
And making enough money.
The concept translated very well into what we saw in this game, I must say.
Yeah.
Colin, what are your thoughts over this game, Area 88, or UN Squadron?
I will say, upon booting it up, right off the bat, I started having F-Zero flashbacks from the visual style.
Oh, interesting.
There's jet taking off from Area 88.
Mm-hmm.
And game. It's like you said, it's another side-scrolling shoot-'em-up, like Gradius or KO Flying Squadron. Now, you get money for every enemy you destroy, and when you beat the level or die, you keep that money and put it towards upgrades to your plane or better models of planes, which I think is really cool, especially for the time.
I definitely agree.
And the better plane you get, the bigger the variety of side weapons you can add to your plane, which is really cool. It's definitely a very difficult game because you're in like danger mode for a few seconds, and then all the health instantly regenerates after a few seconds. But for each time that you get hit and regenerate, it regenerates less each time, so you're still essentially losing health in the long run.
Very interesting mechanic. I can't think of another game that does that.
Yeah.
And on top of that, you can't fire your regular machine gun indefinitely. After a while, it stops firing, at which point you have to press and hold the fire button again, which is another thing I don't see in a lot of other games.
Yeah, it's a short burst system. It fires like 10 shots at a time. You're right on that one. Yep.
Looks amazing as well for 1991. Definitely one of the best games, their best looking games to come out for around this time. It's good music, nothing too memorable, but I didn't find myself getting sick of it. Funny enough, the sound effect they used to indicate danger when you get hit kept making me think my phone was vibrating on my desk just because of one of the background sounds.
Oh, that's actually pretty funny.
Kept having to stop myself from looking over my shoulder towards it.
It's like, what was that? No one texted me. No new followers on Twitter at BullyingJD, by the way. One of my favorite mechanics in this game was when the level's finished, any weapons you didn't use are converted back into money.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
I totally love that, because if you felt like you were at the end of a level and you're like, well, I guess I didn't need those missiles at the end anyways. In most games, you just lose it all together and you only keep the money you gain on the level. And you're just like, oh, okay, I want to upgrade these missiles then for the next stage. Really awesome. I was so happy when I was playing the game and that occurred. I was like, what? Oh my god! Now I have enough for the next missile upgrade instead. Yay!
Nice.
Which is really cool, because when you know, in a lot of shoot 'em ups and side-scrolling shooters, as you progress through the levels, particularly when you get to level 3 or 4, it's always like clockwork, you need those upgrades big time, because the game just skyrockets in difficulty. And that was just a quality of life improvement, with feeling like I was accomplishing something at the same time.
Nice.
Tori, what are your thoughts over Area 88/UN Squadron?
Yeah. No, definitely.
We're on our third different genre for you, Tori. Do you like a game yet?
This is the quest to find a game that I enjoy. No,
yeah, exactly. It kind of is, doesn't it? Sure feels like it.
See, the negative part was this was the game. The negative part for me, this was the game I played first out of anyone.
Oh.
So that's, for a lot of it, was kind of just downhill, which usually isn't the way you want it to go. But all right.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. I've done that on past episodes where I'm like, well, shit, I played the best one first. Now everything seems worse.
Now I have nothing to look forward to. Yeah, nah.
As you're playing the second game, you're just like, I want to play that other one more.
Yeah, that was basically what happened. Like, it was a fun game for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely does remind me of, like, I mean, I say remind me. I can't really say because we didn't particularly have arcades here. Arcades wasn't really a profitable business here, so the ones that we did have, they closed down after like a year.
Poor Norway.
Yeah, but I did play a bit when I was on vacation in foreign countries, whatnot. It kind of reminded me of that experience, and also kind of getting frustrated as I'm reminded of, like, yeah, no, this is fun. No, wait, now I remember why I wasted so much money on these types of these fucking games. Died again. Want to continue? Want to retry? Luckily, you don't have to. Not here, but yeah, no, it was fun for sure. A bit of, I mean, I don't want to say the obvious. Like, it's still not my kind of game. Like I said, I never had the arcade. Like, I never had like the arcade culture. That was never for me. It's kind of like gaming has always been something I do by myself in my home.
Mm-hmm,
and so it's kind of like just that like constant of you die, continue, like, and stuff like that. It bothers me, but not because necessarily that's a problem with the game. It's just kind of like, why can't I just restart? Why do you always have to continue? 10, 9, 8. Yeah, no, but it was a fun game. I liked it.
We found a game Tori likes, Colin. It happened.
Yeah.
Stop the presses.
I liked it, but not that much.
Oh.
Playing hard again.
So some other things about the game is you keep all your ship upgrades even after you die.
Yes.
because more often than not in side-scrolling shooters, especially in our shoot 'em up episode, not only is it a one-hit death kill system, you also lose all your upgrades, or you start like at the beginning of a level all over again. And that's probably one of the most frustrating aspects over the genre. In this game, you not only have that health bar that we mentioned earlier, you also keep all your upgrades. So it's almost like you're getting a brand new ship. And I quite enjoyed that. It definitely made me feel more immersed and enjoying the game more. Because then when you die, you're just like, ah, shit.
It doesn't make you want to quit as easy.
Right.
When you have almost all the upgrades and then you die and you're like, fucking god damn it. Right back from the beginning.
I also liked how you have 3 different characters to choose from, and they felt like characters, and each pilot flies a specific plane, has slightly different capabilities, such as Greg Gates has more life, as an example, and that coincides with the anime where if I remember correctly, the character was portrayed as this guy that had a lot of luck and was impossible to kill, guy of many lives. So his plane being able to sustain more damage, I was able to kind of put that together, and I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. So and the game does do things like that, and each pilot starts out with about $3,000. They do start out with the same plane, which doesn't match the anime, but I imagine that was just kind of a limitation of the time, because you get to upgrade planes later, and that gives more choice to the character. So you're even though you're in the same plane, they have different capabilities. There's no password system. And you do get 3 lives and 3 continues, so essentially 6 lives. No. 9. 9 lives.
That's about right.
Yeah. So I think that was enough. It definitely gives you enough time and space to play, at the same time giving you kind of, it gives more longevity to the game and encourages you to get better at it. This game gets an easy pass from me. It's surprisingly one of the better side-scrolling shooters I've ever played, and I will be looking for. The other thing is only the name changed. One last comment: only the name changed. Everything else stayed the same about the Japanese version.
I also liked how there was sort of a strategy element to this game, because...
Do tell.
Because remember how there's like this map screen with all these different things on it. Sometimes there's tanks or planes in one square, or a submarine in another square.
Sure.
And there's like enemy bases in another square. And with each skirmish that you do, the tanks, planes, or submarines will move closer to your main base. And so if one of them reaches there, then you have, by default, you have to go back to your own base and fend off the attack. So sort of a, do I want to take out these planes and tanks preemptively or go straight to one of the bases?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I did like that too, actually. So, Tori.
From me as well.
Does it get a pass from you? Colin passed it. I passed it.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Hooray! We have a game we all like.
Yeah, it's never gonna happen again.
Well, Tori, we're back to you. What is our fourth game we're discussing here over the theme anime retro games?
Our fourth game is Ghost in the Shell for the PlayStation. You know, based on that movie that people like called Spook in the Machine. I don't know.
Spook in the Machine.
Yep. Anyways, basically, yeah, it's based on Ghost in the Shell, and it was released in Japan on July 17, 1997. and in North America on October 31st, 1997. And yeah, like I said, it's a game based on Ghost in the Shell. And basically, you follow Section 9, as you always do, and you essentially play as the rookie, new rookie, and you are controlling a spider tank called a Fujikoma, and you go around and you complete missions, and you kill people, and you destroy other tanks, and you fight bosses, and yeah.
Pretty simple concept gameplay wise.
Yes.
It was developed by Exact, the company that made Ape Escape and the later Gravity Rush, which, Colin, I know you're a fan of.
So.
Published by Sony Computer Entertainment, and they do own Exact. Exact's always been a first-party studio for Sony. So that should give you a decent idea of how the game is, what's the word I want to use? Quality-wise, I suppose. Colin, tell us more about the game and your thoughts.
I didn't manage to find a copy of this game anywhere, so I had to.
You had to emulate it. I get it. You had to emulate it.
No, I watched it on YouTube.
Oh, you bitch.
Yeah, I had cool. I mean, it's fast paced without being overwhelming, and some really good mechanics and graphics for a PS1 game. I like how the Fujikomas can actually navigate on walls like Spider-Man.
Oh yeah. When I was playing this Ghost in the Shell game, it immediately came to my mind. I was like, oh my god, you can move around like Spider-Man in a spider tank, like a spider pig can.
Nothing like hanging from the roof.
And it's a bit of a shame that we don't get to play as the Major or Bato on foot, since it seems all the gameplay is piloting the Fujikomas. I could totally see some stealth sections with the Major and run and gun sections with Bato and melee as well.
Ooh,
could I interest you in the later Ghost in the Shell game?
What do you mean, Tori?
Well, this isn't the only Ghost in the Shell game ever made.
Oh, you don't say. All right. Well, there's a loose plot if you're familiar with the Ghost in the Shell anime. It's even comparing to Standalone Complex, the anime that came out later. It's always some type of terrorist organization or kind of police crisis that the group has to fight against, and in this case, it was the Human Liberation Front claims responsibility of blowing up the Megatech Body Corporation building. So think of like just future corporation talk babble, and Section 9's got to stop them. So very very simple. There's 12 missions with your Fujikoma. It's not a terribly long game. There was a mech game that we played on a past podcast episode, and this reminded me of it a lot. Even I would have to go back and remember the title off the top of my head. I remember the game was just okay, but Ghost in the Shell is definitely better comparing to it. Just in my head, I was trying to remember. I don't remember the title. I do remember playing the type of game it was. I thought this game was incredibly faithful to the anime, especially since Production IG, the anime studio that was involved with Ghost in the Shell, were the ones doing the FMV cutscenes.
Yeah.
And it really immersed me into the world.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of that. I mean, even just like, not even just like the cutscenes, you even have the gameplay itself. If you think about it, like the first boss, that's a reference to it. That's the reference to the ending of the original Ghost in the Shell movie, the tank. The Makoto fights at the end of the movie. You also have that like invisible woman that you fight.
Right.
That's a reference to the movie. You have lots of references to the manga as well, and just kind of so even just when you play the game, there's a lot there. It's just like, I recognize that. That's cool.
Yeah, I'm a huge mark for anything Ghost in the Shell. I mean, I have the movie on Blu-ray. I have the one that came out in 2015 on Blu-ray. I have the OVAs, both seasons of standalone comp. I love the Ghost in the Shell anime. So when those cutscenes hit, I found myself like a little kid again, just going, "Ooh, what are they gonna do? What are they What techno babble are they gonna say next?"
Techno babble's the best. Now allow me to flex my weeb muscles a little bit.
Okay, Tori, go on.
Because the reason why I even picked this game in the first place is because, as we've all seen it, that opening sequence. The first thing you see, that opening animated sequence, when you kind of get to see, Makoto tied up in there, being controlling the Fuchikoma and whatnot, and all of that good stuff. And I remember looking at that, and I went, that looks really cool. And it also looks familiar. Who did that? So I decided to look it up. And I have, obviously, as you can see at the end as well, both the on the staff for the animation, or key animation for this game, were both the Yoshinari brothers. Yo Yoshinari, who was famous for, especially recently, as the kind of poster boy for Trigger and creator of Little Witch Academia.
Oh, wow.
And, and his brother, who animated that opening sequence, Ko Yoshinari, who has worked on a lot of stuff, kind of has ties to Trigger as well, but doesn't really work there. He's more freelance. And what I especially like is when you see that scene as well, is his style of how he kind of blends, or I wouldn't even say blend, because it isn't, how he creates this illusion of 3D in his 2D animation. Because obviously the entire opening sequence is 2D animated. And the way he just uses colors and weird techniques, I don't even know what he does, to make that kind of get the, rather than kind of limit himself to having movement on like a 2D plane, so left or right, he creates a 3D space and even creates three-dimensional proportions on people using color saturation and whatnot. And I thought that looked really cool.
Yeah, especially trying to mix that in with the limitations of the PlayStation itself and what it was capable of.
Yeah.
I thought it was really impressive what they were able to animate in the FMVs.
But I mean, they have really good, apart from the Yoshinari brothers, you even have Toshiyuki Inoue did a key animation for it, and he is famous for being, as quoted by Satoshi Kon, being the perfect animator. He was very popular among people like Mamoru Oshii and Satoshi Kon. They really liked using him, and he mostly animates movies, and he got that nickname because he produces high quality animation, and he does so incredibly fast. They said nobody could animate more than that man.
Wow. Well, yeah, I mean, it's been a while, considering I like FMVs. I don't know, they have a good charm to them as a retro gamer. I mean, shit, I like the 3DO, and that's nothing but FMV type games. This kind of blew my mind away of how it looked and how faithful it was to Ghost in the Shell. I do have some quality of life issues with the game itself, and it's just mostly just a product of the time. Naturally, there's going to be some camera issues with your Fuchikoma, the spider tank, as it's going up walls. Sometimes your camera will get stuck behind things or onto things, and then since it lacked the second analog stick, kind of like Doom, where when you it just automatically locks on the up and down axis, the y-axis. It just does it automatically here as well, but you do have to turn on the x-axis left and right, and you'll fire at enemies that way. But going along the walls kind of saves that less immersion mechanic of being able to fire on that y-axis the way you want. So that was just some minor things. The more I played, the more I didn't really care, because I was just, hey, I'm in a tank. I want to know what the next cutscene's going to be. I want to know more of the story. I want to blow up the next giant tank laser that's going to fire at me next. You know, that's how I felt while playing it. Did you guys feel anything similar? I mean, obviously, Colin, you looked at a YouTube video because you weren't able to find this game, but did you feel anything while watching the YouTube videos, or Tori, when you emulated this, did you feel any of that?
I mean, I did both, but no, I definitely did. Like, there was just kind of, I mean, obviously, me being me, I was just nerdgasm, like, yeah, I get to ride around the Fujikoma and kill shit.
Sure,
yeah.
Sure.
That's and just kind of like that whole like, oh, you're a rookie in Section 9. Oh, the major's barking at me. She's mad at me for some reason. Yeah.
Yeah.
there's that, you know, there is that, you know, inner nerd that just kind of gets out for the stupidest reasons. And like I said, the references and whatnot, just kind of like, I know that. I know what they're trying to say. But yeah, no, I definitely enjoyed myself. Like I said, I was one to pick this game, and I really wanted to try it. So I'm glad.
Yeah, I'm very happy you picked it. And I had a person on Twitter DM me what was the price of the Area 88 game. It was $25. That's generally what it goes for, and Ghost in the Shell also goes for about $25 USD, by the way. And I take most of these prices from price charting. It's kind of like an overall outlook from Amazon, eBay, and a bunch of other outlets. I like pricecharting.com. It kind of gives you a good idea of how much a game's worth in today's market. So, Colin, final thoughts over Ghost in the Shell?
Okay.
Did you nerdgasm like me and Tori? Did you have to change your pants after getting the major barked at you?
No.
Oh, Tori, you listen to this guy over here?
Ghost in the Shell is you too. It gets a soft pass from me.
A soft pass. Well, I suppose I can be okay with that. Tori, are we gonna go easy on him, or do we have to kill him?
I think this is the end.
This is the end? Sorry, Colin, you're being replaced by the best host.
Bring it.
Well, all right. Ghost in the Shell gets, regardless of Colin's soft pass thoughts, it gets a pass from me and Tori. It's very faithful to the anime and does a good job of it. My favorite part was definitely the cutscenes, and I think that's kind of what they were going for.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
They wouldn't put so much into that if that wasn't kind of the point. You know,
right.
for as basic as the story is, and kind of just like, oh, we are infiltrating this building. Actually, never mind. There's terrorists outside. Go kill them. It's kind of like, all right, oh, sure, I guess. But it's like, you know, whatever. It's Ghost in the Shell. That's what they do.
Alrighty. Colin, what is our 5th out of 6 games? What's the 5th one?
It is Vampire Hunter D for the PlayStation 1.
Mm-hmm. You don't say.
It was released in Japan on December 9th of 1999 and North America September 25th, 2000. Developed by Victor Interactive Software, who created KO Flying Squadron, and published by Jaleco. Super Bases Loaded.
Yeah, just a baseball franchise. If that's in any indication, then we're in for something special, obviously, right?
Yeah. Now, I personally never watched any of Vampire Hunter D.
Okay.
I did see an Anime Abandon review of it, and Bennett did not like it, although he has gone on record that he hates vampire fiction in general.
Well, you will be good. You'll be good knowing that this isn't based off of the first Vampire Hunter D movie. It's based on the second one, Bloodlust, and in my opinion, the better one.
Well, it certainly looks better from what I've seen.
Go on. How about more about this vampire game? Did it get the D, or did it give you the D?
Gave me the finger is what?
Oh.
Yeah, seems to be a pretty basic plot. Yet another damsel in distress scenario.
It sure is.
Our protagonist D has been hired to rescue a rich man's daughter who was kidnapped by vampires. And that's pretty much it. Although he seems to be in a bit of a rival scenario with another bunch of bounty hunters who are attempting the same mission.
For nefarious means.
Yeah.
Yeah.
FMV sequence is really impressive for the time. It's at least on the level of Final Fantasy VII.
I suppose.
They're good too.
I think it was closer to Resident Evil 1 in what Capcom did with their FMVs at the time. And I tried to find any articles that confirmed this, because I had a sneaky suspicion that Victor Interactive, the developer of the game, used the same engine that Capcom used for Resident Evil 1 and Dino Crisis. But I wasn't able to confirm it. It's just my suspicion.
Yeah.
And there's many other reasons. There's a few other reasons why I think that.
Yeah, the gameplay itself is reminiscent of classic Resident Evil as well, because it's got like the fixed camera angles.
Mm-hmm. And the ass controls to go with it.
Yeah, really.
Oh,
bad, since at times you can't tell where one character is in relation to another, because non-existent depth perception.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they really tried to make this into a survival horror game, which I think was a major misstep, personally.
Yeah, I mean, that's not the kind of thing that Vampire Hunter D is. He's supposed to be the badass character like Kenshiro.
Yeah, it's supposed to be an action game. That's what it should have been, not this Resident Evil type nonsense.
Yeah.
So the difference between this and Resident Evil is you have a sword and magic spells, as opposed to a shitty pistol that you can actually aim on a fixed axis. Instead, you have a sword on a fixed axis, where you can't move and swing your sword at the same time. Because I guess you want to be scared of these enemies that move incredibly slow and have delayed reactions, as well as your own delayed reactions with the controls, such as you want to dodge, because there's a mechanic. There's a what Tori? What?
I for one was very scared when I ran past the enemies, not even caring.
Oh no, another fixed camera angle. Ah!
Oh no, this enemy, he sees me. I have to move to the side.
Yeah. Every single enemy moves like wet cardboard. They immediately get stunned, mostly, to your sword attack if, it actually hits the enemy or the game registers it. And that includes boss battles, too. So, spooky, scary boss that doesn't attack you.
Are you telling me those boss battles were
nightmarish?
Fantastic?
Oh, God. Yeah, nightmarish because of the control scheme. The other frustrating part were the items were worthless. Yeah. Worthless. Most notably, I must say, was the grenade. Because I threw one and I go, is it going to explode? Is it going to explode? Come on, grenade. You can explode. Oh my god, Cat, stop hitting my microphone. Get out of here. Oh, he's bad. He's all over the place today. So I threw another one, and I hit my stopwatch. And I'm like, 1, 2, nope, still going. 3, 11 seconds for a grenade to explode. From the moment you throw it and it hits the ground. Is that to me, that was insane, because then I get that the enemies move like wet cardboard, But the grenade takes so long, even the slow enemy can walk past it without getting hurt. You have to like anticipate. You have to like drop it in front of you, or really back up and throw it, so they will eventually walk into the grenade. Oh god. Even the magic spells were pretty much useless. There was like a stun lock magic spell, but mostly I ended up just using the spells for self-healing, because you lose life way too easily if you do get hit. The delayed dodge mechanic equals the delayed bullshit of the enemies. I believe it's tied into the character animation, such as the cape movement and whatnot. I think that was the issue that they were dealing with. They were trying to animate too many things within the polygonal characters, rather than just having them kind of in this singular polygon, kind of like what Lara Croft is in the earlier Tomb Raider games. I think the game should have been like Soul Reaver and not like Resident Evil, basically. Just how we mentioned that it should have been an action game instead of the survival horror that they were trying to go for. So, Colin, thoughts. Give me your thoughts over all of this Vampire Hunter in your D stuff.
I pretty much gave all my thoughts. I was only able to watch it on YouTube because, again, couldn't find a copy. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I can't say I'm particularly impressed. It doesn't. I'm just gonna the bat.
What do you think could have been improved in this game to make you? Let's say it stays in this survival horror sense. What do you think could have been improved?
Oh, no fixed camera angles for one. Just make it more hill, I guess.
Okay.
In that sense.
I didn't catch that. You kind of cut out a bit there.
Silent Hill way of doing things lends itself a little better to like hack and slash with the way D's character operates.
Yeah, that probably would have been interesting, for sure. Because obviously we're talking about the first Silent Hill, right?
The PS1 game.
Yeah. I don't know if they would have been capable of doing that, because what made the Silent Hill game work was the fact that they used the fog to kind of cut out a lot of the backgrounds and things in the distance. Being that this game takes place basically in a mansion and other similar like tight corridors, just like in Resident Evil. I don't know if they would have been able to pull that off. It would have been interesting to see it try, though.
And it like top down.
What do you mean?
We'd probably have to grade the graphics a little, but if it were like, say, the game loaded, just off the top of my head.
I wonder. It is a sword game. I think they could have kept the fixed camera angle. Man, if you could just run around and not have the sword be locked into you just standing there, that would have been much better. The game would have been 1,000 times easier, but I definitely would have enjoyed it more, I feel.
Yeah.
Because as soon as I hit I would find an enemy, and then I would just be standing there going wah 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 wah, you know, in like that X motion that he has the sword. God, the voice acting was definitely notable, like early PlayStation voice acting, where it was just awful, just awkward. Everything seemed like you had to hit the X button in order for the dialogue to continue. It was terrible voice acting. This game was so frustrating because visually, I think it looks good for the time, 99, 2000. I think it's passable. Yeah, okay, the character models and the early Resident Evil 1 type FMV sequences, you know, they're product of the time. I think it passes there as well. But once you get into the gameplay, that's just when you start going, this is ass. Everything about this just wasn't enjoyable, and I feel like it easily could have been. I think it was just
JD. You don't play a game for the gameplay.
Oh, right. Yeah. You play it because of the title alone, right? That's why movie games are always so popular and always so good. So, Tori, do you have any final thoughts over Vampire Hunter the D?
Yeah, it was ass.
It was ass.
Oh, I didn't like it. Not at all. Literally, when I was just encountering enemies, it was kind of just like, I don't even know where to go, but fuck, I can't be ass wasting time, like, fighting you, so I just try to run around them if I could.
Yeah, and that's what you do in Resident Evil, too. You don't actually fight most of the things. You just run around and try and figure out where to go and what to do, solve the crazy cryptic puzzles. Vampire Hunter D just felt like a task, really.
And I'm like, and I don't need to fight this guy. Well, what do I do? Oh, I can block. Oh, I just block and then I attack. Okay, I see. I'm having a blast.
Yeah. Well, this game is only worth $10. I think that's too much for the game. Actually, I think you're overpaying. I think they should give you $10 to take the game off their hands.
I was about to say you couldn't give me this game for free. You got anything else? Maybe a Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah. Well, we got one more game to cover. Oh, by the way, Vampire Hunter D, if you couldn't tell, gets a fail from me.
I totally pass it.
Colin, do you pass it or fail?
Great game, 10 out of 10.
All right, 10 out of $10. All right, well, our last game is Sword of the Berserk Guts Rage, based on the anime Berserk, or the manga of the same name. The game came out on the Dreamcast, Japan, December 16th, 1999, February 29th, 2000 in North America. Developed by Yuke's, which is more commonly associated with now the WWE 2K games. Published by Eidos Interactive, the same people of Tomb Raider, a subsidiary of Square Enix.
Hold on here. How can it have come out in 2000? How can it come out after Y2? The world ended.
So this game has oh my god, where do I begin? It has early use of QuickTime events, QTEs, which I found interesting. It's used to determine different paths you can take, since the game is mostly linear, but then it gets you to do other things. Such, for example, there's a scene where you're going across a wooden bridge over a canyon. If you don't do the QuickTime event quick enough, hence the word quick and the QuickTime, you can either make it across the bridge, which will take you down one path, or you'll fall into the canyon. So, interesting aspects of that through the way of telling the story and get you to get some replay value out of the game, you might say. So, a notable change was made between the Japanese and the North American version. And this is interesting. The game was made 30% more bloody for the West. Why? What? I don't know. As opposed to the other games, like Fist of the North Star game we talked about earlier, where the game was heavily censored and all the blood and gore was taken out. This one was upscaled. So, for example, when you cut a body in half or what have you, you would actually spew blood, Kill Bill style in the Western version, as opposed to just being cut in half in the Japanese version. So I honestly can't complain about that.
I just have to ask, like, what is it with Japan? What do they have against Berserk? Why?
What do you mean?
Why do they keep doing this? It's just kind of, it's the same. It's been the way, like, ever since, Berserk is obviously a fairly beloved manga. But, like, when it comes to whether it's an anime or game or whatever, it's usually just not good.
Visually, it's not the most appealing thing in the world, no.
Yeah, but I mean, even still, it's kind of like, even there's like, to make it less bloody, or have the Japanese version be less bloody. It's kind of like it's Berserk. It's a manga that revels in its misery. Everyone's a piece of shit. Like you don't understand. There is no such thing as this is the worst that could have happened. Of course it isn't. It could go so much worse. It's kind of like it's something that just likes to kick you while you're down. Right? So it's just kind of like, I feel like, is this like Japan retaliating against Berserk? They're like, nah, you don't get good anime. You don't get good games. Fuck you, Kentaro Miura. Who also actually helped out in this game.
Did he now? I didn't know that. I was looking for that. I wasn't able to find a confirmation if he was actually involved with it.
From what I heard, he was involved in writing a bit of the story. Or helping it fit to the game.
Yeah, I mean, the story was simple enough. The plot was your typical damsel in distress scenario, and you just gotta cut your way through demons, and your missions are to do various things to save villagers from other demons until you get to the ultimate goal. Very short and simple plot, I must say. And thank God it was simple, because it could have gotten way overly complicated and dumb.
Oh, yeah.
So, Colin, what did you think of Sword of the Berserk Gotsu Reijo?
He DC'd.
Colin?
He DC'd.
Did he?
Yes.
Oh, he's completely gone. Well, not awkward at all. Okay, nope. Tori, tell me about the game then.
Well, it's a Berserk game. You control guts. You kill shit. I wasn't a huge fan of this game. That was okay. Like, there are aspects of it that I like. It's kind of like, I like that they kind of made a point of being guts. And what I mean by that is kind of like, he wears heavy armor, he swings around a heavy sword, so a lot of the combat and a lot of the fighting with him, you obviously, you feel that sword when you swing it around. It's a heavy sword. It's not. Sure, yeah. You can't just like swing it wildly. So
not being able to swing it wildly. Yeah, we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah, no, but like, so stuff like that, I did appreciate, but then you also have that kind of point where it's like, it's cool that they did that, but at the same time, is it fun? Not always. So there were definitely some gameplay stuff there. And then, you have camera angle shit going on there as well, right? Just like, you enter a room, and the camera is literally in the goddamn wall. Just like a sliver of the room. There's like a sliver of the room in the fucking... But you can't see anything. You're getting bomb rushed by enemies. It's like, fucking, what's going on? I can't see anything.
Yeah, that's definitely a product of the time. You definitely know what games stand out when they are able to execute the limited camera well. This game definitely suffered from a lot of, like, okay, comparing Ghost in the Shell's camera, yeah, it got stuck or hit every now and again in a wall, but it was so minimal that it didn't really affect my overall viewpoint of the game. In the Sword of the Berserk, the camera definitely suffered a lot more, and it made it noticeable.
Oh yeah, and then you even have the stuff like when you're in the in like the dungeon area there, right in the beginning as well. It's so confined, and that sword is so big. So you're trying to swing it around, and it's just like, nope, hit the wall, nope, hit the wall, no, hit the wall. It's like,
Yes, and that's where when you made the comment, you're not being able to swing it wildly. This game suffered so much in stages, and there's too many of them where you're in like city alleys. The cave level was unbearably frustrating because you just found yourself hitting the fucking walls all the time. I would have rather had just seen the sword go through the walls if that was the case.
Yeah. Because, obviously, the Dragon Slayer is a just gigantic hunk of metal. It is not a small sword.
Yeah, it's this 12-foot, like 1-ton weighing sword that Guts has to wield around. And I mean, I did like the aspect of the control scheme where each face button would do a different angle of attack. So, like, if you're, I don't know how many people know the layout of the Dreamcast controller off the top of their head, but in terms of PlayStation, it would be like the triangle button would swing downward, square would swing a little left to right, and circle would be right to left. So that was really cool. Instead of having, let's say, a second analog stick, which the Dreamcast controller doesn't have, to swing instead. So it kind of tried to incorporate this twin stick sort of controls to it. As I alrighty. So the As for okay, so graphically, I thought this game looked fantastic, especially for the time and on the Dreamcast to boot. It looked really good. I liked the character models. What did you think of it? What did you think of how it looked, Tori?
I mean, obviously, I can't really compare, as I've never had a Dreamcast, so I don't really know much about what games look like on the Dreamcast.
You had to emulate the shit out of this.
Oh yeah. But like, I did appreciate some of like the texture rendering and whatnot. It didn't look that bad. Like, I was just kind of like, I remember seeing some like paintings and stuff like that, and that looked pretty nice. So yeah, it's not like that horror vision that I get when I think of old games. It's just like, blocky pieces of trash.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it kind of, I'm not gonna say blew me away, but it did. It didn't look as bad as I was afraid that it would.
Yeah, I was kind of in the same boat as you, because when I, like you said earlier, when I think of Berserk being made into something of movement, it doesn't come off very well. Yeah, right. And this game was a pleasant surprise. The gameplay was all right when you weren't in those crazy corridors, because I do like the control scheme. I do like the feel of Guts swinging this giant hunk of metal around and decapitating things in half, and it all felt really cool when it was finally executing correctly, which I think was like 50-50 most of the time, when you weren't hitting a fucking wall. The kind of the desert wasteland area stage comes to mind for when that is executed well. Because you're in an open space, you're fighting multiple enemies, and you're able to swing your sword freely. Obviously not super fast, because of how heavy it is, and it does make the sword feel heavy. Now, there is an aspect to the game where when you lose X amount of health, you can activate what's called Berserk mode. Screen flashes into this like dark reddish type scheme, and you go into just this so similar to the Dragon Ball speed up mechanic when you get the panties. It's something like that, where now Guts just goes all wacky. He can swing the sword freely as fast as he wants, and he can move freely as fast as he wants. Now, of course, if you activate this in this, like the city, village, alleyways, or the cave, it's worthless because you'll just be hitting the wall over and over again.
You'll do more damage.
But you'll do a lot more damage, swing a lot faster, and because of this, I did notice, like, once every, I want to say 3 sword swings, the sword would go through the wall. Because the animation of the sword, and I guess how fast they wanted to do it, the clipping just didn't, it was occurring through the wall every now and again, and I was like, okay, that's actually good.
Yeah.
Not often you can say where the game's glitching out and it's actually for the benefit of the game. What'd you think of the enemy designs in the game?
I didn't really look that closely at them.
So you had like mutant turkeys, dogs with kind of Resident Evil pumpkin heads on foreheads.
I mean, it's kind of it's kind of what I think of. Like I just kind of think of Berserk with it, because it is like, Berserk land. You face all kinds of horrible shit, whether it be regular people or just fucking demons. So it's kind of like they did that. I thought some of them weren't exactly. I'm not exactly gonna say they looked great, but yeah, they gave that Berserk vibe of just all kinds of fucked up creatures live in this world. Okay. Somehow humans also live in.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool that everything's tied to the Mandragora, which was this like demonic plant thing, and all the enemies were changed into the demonic plants, including humans, in various ways. And of course, you got to go full zombie mode on the more common enemies, which I was okay with. Pretty cool concept, simple enough. It definitely ties, I feel, into the spirit of the Berserk universe. And if what you said is correct with Miyahara, Miyahara. God, I got Japanese names just flowing in my head. Miyahara having part in writing the story, then it all ties together and makes sense. By the way, the main enemy name of the game is Baron Balzac.
Yes.
So fantastic. The best name. Am I right?
Yeah, no, I refuse to believe anyone that says that was not on purpose.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't care.
Balzac was totally on purpose.
I don't 100%. Care what they say. I don't care. No, the Japanese understand naming of it. No, they did that on purpose. You can't convince me that was not on purpose. Berserk has weird names. Some names make sense, and then others are just totally outlandish. But that's no.
I loved watching YouTubers, especially Americans, try to explain Puck in this game, because I was so curious to what other people thought of the game as well. It's become, I think, the last 2 or 3 podcasts now. Once I'm done making my notes for the game, what I think about it, I look up what YouTubers are also thinking of these things, and whenever it came to explaining Puck, this naked fairy that's in the Berserk universe, for those that are familiar with Berserk, Puck makes sense in terms of Berserk and the story and the characters, but to the Western audience, it was hilarious watching them react to it. Tori, what do you think their reaction of Puck? Well, what did you think of Puck in the game? Was he Puck?
I didn't really get that far. Okay. So I didn't really properly experience Puck. From what little I did, he is. He's kind of, following Casca around, still completely mind broken. Right. Following Casca around, kind of like, no, don't go there, don't do that. Realistically, he can't actually do anything because he's weak. Hell, still maintaining some of that funny charm that he has. I like Puck. Puck is alright.
Yeah, so the YouTuber's reaction to Puck was, what the fuck is this naked fairy doing here? He's so annoying. I hate him. I don't understand. And I can already see a Japanese person just being like, Puck, I love him. Oh my god, he's great. He's here. And for those listening to live stream, I'm trying to pull Colin back in. He got totally disconnected from the internet. So
nice. Yeah. I mean, just Puck. He is that when it comes to when it comes to Berserk, what I like about Puck is that he is that dire need of comedy that series needs, because without Puck, that shit is depressing as hell.
Oh yeah, it's a comic relief character, and it's not just a comic relief, so to say. It's also a spiritual relief.
Oh yeah, No, like that thing, that manga, that show, it aims to break you. Because like I said, there is nothing that is like the worst thing that could happen in that series. There's always something worse that can happen, and just it keeps descending more and more into despair and fucking madness, and it just loves to show people, and like especially humans, as the most horrible, despicable people or things imaginable. There is nothing good that comes out of most people in that series. And you know, when you take into account the world, it makes sense. But like with all the depressing stuff that happens, you need a character like Puck to kind of just, you know, lighten the mood at least a little bit every once.
Oh yeah, because there's a lot of scenes in this game, like essentially every mission that you do for the villagers or even a villager, that villager always seems to go through this horrible twist of fate. For example, in the early game, you meet a mandragora, a villager pulls it out of the ground, turns everyone into zombies, including himself, and then you have to kill him. So,
yay!
Typical Berserk. Colin, we have you back.
I don't know what the hell happened there.
Well, it's good to have you back. What are your thoughts over Sword of the Berserk Guts Rage? Gameplay wise, story wise, positives, negatives, just to get you back up to speed here.
One of the first things I noticed when I was watching this game on YouTube again is seems like all of the characters' movements in the cutscenes have the exact same speed and way of moving. It's like sort of hypnotic and not in a particularly good way. Just some kind of trance. Not very convincing.
Berserk with bad animation? No way.
That's new. That'd be a first.
The character models are decent looking, but the visuals overall are kind of plain and muddy looking. Although I do kind of like the music.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it had that kind of metal-ish type vibe to it going on, yeah, sure.
Plays looks kind of clunky and glitchy. It's like the sword hits really don't look satisfying at all. It's like you don't really feel like you're hitting something similar to what Golden Axe had. And for a character with a giant sword, said sword doesn't really seem to do much damage to the enemies. I mean,
yeah, it does take a while to actually kill something. I know what you mean.
Hits for him to take down a single bandit. It's like, what the hell?
Yeah, you would think that to keep the spirit of the anime, for regular enemies, it should just be one hit kill type stuff. You think that would have made the game a bit better, Tori?
That would have been way too easy. I don't know. Honestly, it's like if the spirit of Berserk is kind of there is a lot of like one hit kills, but the problem is that goes like every way. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I feel like you don't really capture the spirit of Berserk in a game because there's this, there's also this kind of implementation of Unity. It needs to be a bit challenging as well. And yeah, but take how a fight would happen in Berserk, for example. Like a fight can be challenging, but that isn't because it takes Guts 100 swings of his sword or 100 cuts with his sword to kill something. It's because landing that hit is incredibly hard. So you would then have to kind of program enemies are fucking dodging. They have ways of escape, stuff like that. I don't know. I just feel like that. But for a Dreamcast game, I don't think that would necessarily work that well. But I don't know. Well, again, Berserk doesn't have good games. Berserk doesn't get good any.
Well, I did beat this game. It was mildly satisfying and okay, I suppose. Just a lot of things were frustrating. And I did end up timing the amount of time the FMV sequences occur and how long it took me to play and beat the game. If you cut out all of the FMV sequences, the game's only about 2.5 to 3 hours long.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, it's very short. And the price of entry is $25. So if you think that's worth it, and what we've said about the game is something you'd be interested in, then go for it. But I don't have much else to say about Sword of the Berserk Guts Rage. Do you guys?
I want to say is, why does Puck and every other character for that matter keep calling him Gatsu? It's so annoying. His name is in the frickin' title.
Way
his name changes. No, that has nothing to do with it. The thing
is Rage.
Yeah, the thing with Gatsu is that his name, like especially when it comes to like the American localization and whatnot, it changes all the goddamn time. I heard what was it? Best Friend Plays. I heard them talking about it as well, and apparently even in like the titles and fucking descriptions of the game, they keep changing it. So for some places it says Guts, other places it says Gatsu, and it's just like there is no consistency because apparently no one actually knows that his name is Guts. So yeah, I think some people even think he's called Berserk, which is I think is hilarious.
Yeah, why not?
Because his name's Guts.
No, his name's clearly Berserk now. It's sort of Berserk. That's Berserk. He's Berserk.
This is Berserk, man.
Oh boy.
With his companion protagonist.
Oh boy.
And his mentally challenged girlfriend.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I can't give Sword of the Berserk a pass at the end of the day. There's too many frustrating gameplay mechanics, and nothing drove me more insane than constantly hitting walls with the giant sword. So,
all the fun.
Yeah. Well, anyways, I can't imagine you guys are going to pass this either.
Nope.
Well, hi, what do you know?
No.
Nah, not at all. It's just go read a manga.
I would say watch the 90s anime. I quite liked it. So, just to recap of the 6 games we covered on this theme anime games, retro anime games. Dragon Ball Shenlong no Nazo, aka Dragon Power. Shin Sekimatsu Kyosho Denatsu Hokodo no Ken, aka Last Battle.
That was so
for the Sega Genesis. Hepburn Area Hachi Juhachi, aka UN Squadron for the Famicom Super Nintendo. Ghost in the Shell for the PlayStation, Vampire Hunter D for the PlayStation, and Sword of the Berserk Gotsu Reijo for the Dreamcast.
Gatsu Rage.
Colin, what was your favorite and least favorite game of the cast?
By far my favorite was UN Squadron, aka Area 88.
Mm-hmm.
The most satisfying, the most playable, just the best overall. Easy win.
Your least favorite?
In between Vampire Hunter D or Berserk.
Oh. The two most recent games on the cast, you might say. Okay.
Yeah, I think I'm going to say Vampire Hunter D. Just
understandable. Tori, favorite and least favorite, good sir?
My favorite is easy. My favorite is Ghost in the Shell. Just a ton of fun. Again, I nerd out to that game more than anything else. It just hits me in all the right spots. And just generally fun to watch. And play. But let's see. Least favorite. I'm torn between Dragon Ball and Vampire Hunter D. But I think I'm going to give it to Vampire Hunter D just because I expected more from that than I did from Dragon Ball. And Vampire Hunter D just let me down hard.
Fair enough. Okay. Well, my favorite is UN Squadron Area 88 game. Honestly, it's not close. Ghost in the Shell is an easy second. And then it went downhill from those two pretty fast. My least favorite is the Fist of the North Star game, for sure. It is hard mediocrity. Hard. I mean, you can play one level and then you know the game.
Yeah.
really nothing else to play. It was heavily censored and graphically downgraded when it was brought to the West. And even with the bodies exploding, sure, it's a quality of life improvement, but the game really doesn't change all that much for me, so... but it seemed like Ghost in the Shell and UN Squadron, Area 88 were easy passes, and the rest were flaming piles of nonsense afterwards. So 2 out of 6, we get the anime retro games gets a fail. I think we've covered a few other anime type games. The Mecha episode, Tech Romancer, I believe, was on there. Obviously, the Sailor Moon beat 'em up game on the Super Nintendo.
I'm sure that was well received.
That was well received.
To be terrible.
So
just like on the Anime Cast.
But Tori, I would like to thank you so much for coming on this retro gaming episode. I believe you 1 episode in, you're already best host. I mean, that has to be right, correct?
That's my ability, I guess. I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait until the votes come in. So,
oh sure.
Where's that Colombian guy?
Where's our one Colombian fan out there? Oh boy. Well, Colin, thank you for joining me for yet another one. Hopefully, I will see you next weekend for the Retro Game Con that Kevin and I are going to. We'll have to fingers crossed for that one.
Did on where and when I'll be flying.
Sure.
Yeah.
And this has been Anime Episode 28. Again, if you've enjoyed the podcast episode and you want to support us, I encourage it. Head on over to iTunes or Stitcher Smart Radio and leave us a review of any kind. It's a good free way to help us out. You can find the Red Leaf Retrocast, Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, all other podcasting outlets, with the exception of SoundCloud. You can join us on a YouTube page where we stream some video games every now and again, and every live stream is on there from the past in its raw format. And thank you so much for joining us, Anime Episode 28 Retro Gaming. And we'll see you in the next one. Alrighty. Fun episode.
For me cutting out.
That's okay.
I kept Audacity going through that whole time just in case.
Oh, good. That makes it easier on me then. That makes it much easier for me to edit later.
Some kind of power bump.
Oh, is that what happened? Maybe someone restarted the router or something?
Oh, it doesn't explain why I wasn't able to get data very easily.
Oh,
well.
Oh, I was fighting my cat the entire 2 hours.
Nice. Who won?
Obviously he did, because I was incredibly irritated the entire time with him. I mean, he was biting wires, fucking with shit, wanting to play real bad. He's like, you are talking to other people. You're not paying attention to me. I hate you right now. Pay attention. I was like, fuck it. I gave you wet food this morning. You're supposed to be all happy about that and be in a food coma, but no.
Cats don't go into food comas. That's not what cats do. At least that's not what my cat do. At least I have the luxury of just when my cat's done eating, I let him outside.
Oh, where is he now? I don't know where he went.
Home.
Of course, now that the podcast has pretty much come to an end, he's like out doing his own thing now. Away from everything. Of course. That's how it works.
Welcome to cats.
Welcome to cats. Oh boy. I still haven't started Cells at Work, Tori.
No, but you did start Happy Sugar Life, right?
No, I did not.
Why not? It's the best show.
I don't want to watch that.
It's the best show.
And Tori, now that I have you here, and Colin's here as well, Colin wants to be on the Escaflowne episode down the line.
Ah, I see. Absolutely not.
Screw you, man.
I'm joking. Escaflowne. Yeah. All right. Sure.
Yeah, he's been.
This is my decision to make.
Yeah, well, if you have any outlandish reasons why he couldn't be there, forever speak now or forever hold your peace.
I'm gonna forever hold my peace. So
Colin's been advocating for the Escaflowne episode for months now. He's like, if you ever do one, if you ever do one, I want to be on there. Like, okay, whenever we do it.
Whenever we do, typical JD. I had to find this guy into VC. We're planning ahead, motherfucker. Let's go.
Yeah. What did you plan out till like May next year?
Well, yeah. You and I, we planned out like the next 5 casts, I think, or something like that. And then later on, I just looked at it again. And I said we had a shit ton of recommendations. So I just got hick, and I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. We're doing this.
Well, however way it gets to be done. So.
I can start writing down notes.
Oh, it's not going to be for, I don't know, a month or so, or more than that.
I can check. Let's see. I can check. Close the stream. I don't want to watch JD's stream. Why would I ever do that?
Why would I ever do that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, JD. I'm halfway through Volume 4 of The Promised Neverland.
Oh, cool. I think I only have 4 volumes, actually. I think the 5th one came out recently. Yeah, there's 4 volumes out in English.
Ooh. I also got Berserk Volume 1 and 3 to go with 2.
Excellent. That's a pretty good manga.
It's okay.
Oh yeah, and I got Yokai Watch.
Oh, Yokai Watch. Yes. Oh no. Oh, the game. Oh, the first game. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's fun. It's fun.
Oh no.
No. The Yokai Watch game's good. It's
no.
It's a different take on Pokemon. It's very fresh.
I know what it is. Let's see. Vision of Escaflowne is November 17th.
Good to know.
At least that's what it's set up for now.
Watching. Watch, take some notes.
Yeah.
We're also gonna need to plan out some sort of topic for the next cast. We don't have that. Unless, of course, you want it to be me and Hickey talking about Idolmaster. Because that's gonna happen anyways.
Well, you guys want to do Idolmaster. You guys can talk about Idolmaster. I don't mind.
Sure. I mean, like I said, we're doing that anyways, no matter what you say.
Yeah. So I don't mind sitting back and chilling, drinking tea or coffee while you guys gush about Idolmaster, the anime and the game, and it could bring in a new audience as well.
Yeah, the Idolmaster fans.
Yeah, exactly. So I'll just have to, I'll have the. I actually went back and like retitled certain things and put some things in parentheses. If there was like a major topic, talking point or something.
Yeah.
I did that for a lot of the episodes. So I could do Speed Racer and then in parentheses Idolmaster. That won't be confusing at all.
Nope. We're talking about Speed Racer. We're talking about 2 anime that are pretty much exactly the same. Speed Racer and Idolmaster.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
2 sides of the same coin. No. No, but I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be fun. I mean, me and Hickey talk about Idolmaster all the time anyways, so...
Yeah, it'd be cool. You guys, a lot of people talk highly over the anime. I know next to nothing about the game, unless it's like a... what's the word? Rhythm-based game. I imagine it is. Like the Hatsune Miku Project Diva games.
Yeah, except like much better.
Yeah, much better. Well, we'll see when I because I can make a direct comparison to that. I've played a couple of the Miku games.
So have I.
Yeah. So the way you guys talk about it, be like, okay, I understand that. I understand that. So, all right, let's end this sucker. End stream.